Live every day as if it were the last, because before you know it, time goes past and life's just not that long. Tell all you love that you love them so, because even if you do, they might not know, and one day we'll all be gone.
I'm 79 years old, and if I would die tonight of natural causes, and if you know someone 95 who smokes, boozes, drinks sodas, eats crap, do not think my healthy raw plant foods have not helped me. If I would die tonight of natural causes, and if you know someone 95 who smokes, boozes, drinks sodas, eats crap, do not think my smoking no cigarettes, my drinking no booze, no sodas, my miles of walking many days, my bouncing on a trampoline many days, my sunbathing naked and mostly naked, my good sleep have not helped me. If I had not stopped eating cookies, candy, ice cream, cake, meat, cheese, cooked food many years ago, I would have been fat with diabetes now, or I would have suffered and died years ago. Every day, I work to be healthy and to feel good until I die. Whether tonight at 79 or at 100. We can usually prevent suffering months and years before we die by living and eating healthy every day. For hundreds of years, thousands of Christian preachers and priests have hammered awful shame and guilt into millions of people about any sex outside of church marriage of one man, one woman, until death. For hundreds of years, thousands of Christian preachers and priests have hammered awful shame and guilt into millions of people about feeling strongly attracted and wanting sex with someone we're not married to. For hundreds of years, thousands of Christian preachers and priests have hammered awful shame and guilt into millions of people about pleasuring our own cock or vagina alone in masturbation, saying God, the creator of the universe, will send these sexual outlaws to never-ending torture with no pardon, no parole, if they do not repent and shape up. This kind of religion grabs people by the balls to control them through shame and guilt about sex. Religion often castrates millions without using knives. This kind of religion uses the fear of what happens to us after we die to control us while we're living. Christianity or any other religion that controls people through shame and guilt about sex that is wanted and enjoyed by all people involved, that part of religion, whatever the brand, is damn evil. Christianity or any other religion that uses the fear of never-ending torture with no pardon, no parole after we die to control people, that part of any religion is evil. You and I never got to choose the family we were born into. None of us chose the color of our skin. None of us chose the nation we were born into. None of us chose before birth to see or to be blind. None of us before birth chose to hear or to be deaf, to be born healthy or not healthy. No one is born evil. The health of our mothers when we were in her womb, any abuse she may have suffered when pregnant, the mothers drinking damn booze or using other drugs, exposure to poison chemicals, eating junk food, all of those in the mother can affect that developing child in her womb. All of these influence us after birth for both good and for evil. But no one is born evil. If I had suffered severe violence from my father as Hitler suffered as a kid, if years later millions of people swallowed and cheered my crazy, hate-filled lies against Jews, against gays, gypsies, handicapped people, communists, I, sadly, might have done Hitler's massive evils. And just as Hitler felt helpless as a kid against his father's awful, cruel beatings, the many millions Hitler targeted, Hitler murdered, felt helpless against his bloody terror. Yesterday's victims become today's dangerous bullies unless and until they heal inside. Healing can take years with much help from other people. Trump had no affectionate hugs and contact with his mother for years as a young boy. Trump was put down as a kid for being fat. Trump's father sent him to a military school. No warm affection there from adults. Trump's father taught Trump to worship power and money. Trump's father taught him to do anything he could get away with to grab more money, more power, no matter how many people he screwed over and wronged. And as a young man, Trump was strongly influenced by the dangerous bully, lawyer Roy Cohn. Roy Cohn was a gay man who never publicly admitted he was gay. And Roy Cohn taught Trump to always attack, deny everything, and never admit defeat. Sadly, millions of U.S. voters swallowed and cheered Trump's hate-filled, white, racist lies. Trump's niece, Mary Trump, a psychologist, wrote the book about Trump, Too Much and Never Enough: How My Family Created the Most Dangerous Man in the World. 31 copies of that book in our local libraries. Being deeply loved and warmly hugged from birth turn on our consciences to tell the truth and to be kind. Trump was starved for love. Trump is still starved for love. And millions here and in other countries are suffering from dangerous dictator Trump. Men, do you have close men friends you open your heart to about your fears, your failures, your deepest concerns? Men, do you have close men friends who know the worst about you and are still your friends? And sadly, for many men, their friendships with other men are just about doing stuff together. Drinking booze, playing poker, playing ball, hunting, fishing. Many women's friendships with other women go much deeper, sharing the precious and the painful inside them. Little girls can walk to school hand in hand. They can hug and cry and say to each other, "You're my best friend. I need you. I love you." But many little boys are ashamed and afraid to show their feelings for each other. Fag, hoto, are words that little boys learn to fear. And many teenage boys fear people will think they're gay if they show affection to other boys. Many men let their guard down in public if they're boozing together, or in a bus depot or an airport saying hi or goodbye to their longtime close male friend, or if they score a touchdown or make a basket, a pat on the ass or a hug. One of the reasons many men love playing sports, they can touch each other's bodies, other men's bodies, in public, and not be cursed for it. Many men, sadly, cannot admit this even to themselves. Men, do you tell your men friends your sadness, your loneliness? Do you express tenderness? Men can be as sensitive, as warm, and as open as women. Men do not have to spend their whole lives bluffing to each other and keeping it shallow. Hell no. Sadly, many men just shoot the breeze with each other, talking business, sports, women, politics. Sadly, many men, millions of men, are allergic to going deep and personal with other men. Many older men become emotional vegetables when their wives die. They depended for many years on their wives to connect deeply with family and friends. Some men are waking up, and some men are changing to find freedom and to go deep with other men. Never hit kids. I think at least once when I was a young boy, my dad hit me. It's a hazy memory. If my dad or my mother had beaten me many times, as many kids suffer, I might have ended up in prison or even on death row for committing violent crimes, even murder. If we adults have hit kids, we need to apologize if we still have contact with them, no matter if it happened many years ago. We need to apologize to those kids we hit, even if those kids are now adults. Was the white cop who viciously murdered black man George Floyd beaten as a kid? Were some or all of the 5 Memphis black cops who murdered Tyre Nichols beaten as kids? Dale, the terribly disturbed white 18-year-old who murdered my grandparents, suffered beatings as a kid from his dad. Many men, many women who suffered beatings as kids later abused their own bodies as alcoholics or addicts to other drugs. And many men beaten as kids become cruel cops, violent husbands, soldiers, violent street gang members. Hitting kids does not beat the hell out of them. Hitting kids beats the hell deeper into them. And sometimes even worse than beating kids is shaming kids, humiliating kids, insulting and putting them down over and over again, especially in front of other people. My longtime faithful friend, Chester, suffered horrendous emotional abuse from his stepfather for years. It was hell for Chester. Was the stepfather awfully abused by his father? I don't know. Had that stepfather, if he was abused by his father, obviously had never healed inside. Abused people can heal inside. Victims do not have to become bullies, but healing can take years with much help from many people. One day, years after my mother died, I was working at the family hog and cattle market in Illinois. A shirt-free, very attractive white farmer came to do business. And after that farmer left, I told my dad, and just my dad and I were in the office of our business, I would love to fuck with him. If you have sons or daughters, do they feel free to be open with you as I was that day with my dad? If they don't feel free, why not? My dad told me after I said I would love to fuck with him, that attractive white farmer. You better not let your brother hear that. I think I then told my dad, sometimes the person putting down being gay is fighting their own gay feelings. My only brother, we had no sisters. My only brother strongly condemns sex and romance between men. He strongly opposes being naked. My brother is strongly against dancing. I love to dance to beautiful music, not just anything. And as far as I know, I'm the most well-known openly gay man and nudist in this city. My brother and I have had some contact through letters and phone calls. And I thank him and I thank his wife for being honest and dependable in settling up our dad's estate after Dad died 31 years ago. I would like to be close friends with my brother, in spite of our huge differences. But I realize that may never happen. He's 90, I'm 79. And if I had stayed living in that mostly white farming community, as my brother has, and if I had not had the great variety of many, many, many people who have taught me, loved me, inspired me, I might have been as close-minded, emotionally constipated as my brother, or worse. I am deeply indebted to so many, many people, a great variety who have loved me, taught me, inspired me. And one of my favorite stories is about how lonely, stingy, miserable, selfish Ebenezer Scrooge woke up. He changed as an old man. Old men can, or old women, can learn new tricks if they really want to. It may take a little longer, but it can happen. Scrooge woke up and changed big time. He became generous and friendly. He was a very late bloomer, but he changed. And I was a very late bloomer romantically. When I graduated from high school, I did not know I'm gay. When I graduated from high school with highest academic honors in my class, but there were only 49 in my class, I did not know millions of men for thousands of years have been strongly sexually attracted to men and have enjoyed sex and romance with men, even though many of those same men greatly enjoyed sex and romance with girlfriends or wives. In my 20s, I began to know about men attracted to men, but I was afraid of losing many male friends that I had if I came out as a gay man. And I never had sex with any male in my life until I was 31. A Chicano artist from Cuba, New Mexico, sucked my cock. And weeks later, A man fucked me for my first time, and that man was a master fucker. He kindly took his time instead of quickly plunging his way in. And I wish every man in the world being fucked for the first time, or their 100th time, or their 1,000th time, had a master fucker as I had that first time. It was wonderful. So different from what many men have suffered when men painfully rape them on the street or in prison. And years later, I met a man here downtown. We went down by the Rio Grande. He fucked me, but it was not a good experience. I think he had been drinking booze. And when people drink booze and have sex, often they're not as much interested in giving pleasure to the other person as mainly receiving their own pleasure, regardless what the other person feels, if the other person is really enjoying it or not. I learned through that experience, never have sex with anyone who is drinking booze. We all will die. And by living healthy in every way, every day, we can greatly improve our chances of a long, healthy life until the day we die. But violence happens. Accidents happen. And tomorrow is not guaranteed to me, to you, or to anyone on the whole earth. Sooner or later, we all die. Nobody gets out alive. And refusing to think about death does not make it go away. Refusing to talk about death does not make death go away. Preparing for death does not make death come quicker. We need to put one or more persons that we trust, persons who are close to us, in charge of making decisions for our care if and when we can't make those decisions ourselves. We need to tell these trusted friends clearly what kind of medical treatment we want or do not want when we're dying. How comfortable do we want to be when we're dying? How we want people to treat us, what we want our loved ones to know. And 5 wishes I highly recommend. I filled out my copy in 2018, going on 7 years ago. And 5 wishes is plain and simple, clear. It is a legal document for anyone 18 years or older in New Mexico and in most states. When it is signed, witnessed, dated, 5 wishes, I urge you to get it. from the internet. Go to 5wishes.org, O-R-G. Fill it out. Make sure your persons in charge know where you keep it. And give them a filled out photocopy for them to keep. Millions of people have used this, 5 Wishes. It's available in 30 languages and in Braille. And if you're close to death, if you're in a coma, not expected to recover, if you have permanent brain damage, severe brain damage, do you want life support treatment? I don't. How and where do you prefer to die? In a hospital, surrounded by tubes and machines, or at home? I prefer to die at home. Do you want your doctor to give you medicine to relieve your pain, even if that means you will be drowsy or sleep more than you would otherwise? Well, for me, it depends how awful the pain is. Whether I would want the doctor to give me pain medication that makes me sleepy, drowsy. Do you want certain people with you when you die? I want my closest friends. Do you want your friends and family and others to forgive you for when you have wronged them? Yes. I want my family, friends, and others to forgive me when I have wronged them. Do you want family, friends, and others to know that you forgive them for when they have wronged you? Yes. I want them to know I forgive them. I do not want to breathe my last breath with any grudges against anyone. I want to clear the table, and I aim to clear it now. Grudges are poison. You want all your family to make peace with each other before your death, if they can. Yes, I want them to make peace, if at all possible. Do you want everyone involved to respect your wishes, even if they do not agree with your wishes? Yes, I certainly do. And at this point, I'm not planning any funeral. Why? The main reason is I won't be around to enjoy it. But if friends want to have a funeral for me, they are certainly welcome to do so. But I want no mention of God or religion in that funeral, because I no longer believe in a fair, loving parent God, even though I was a very sincere Christian preacher in the 1960s in Virginia and in Illinois. Do you want to be cremated or buried? I have a burial plot at the San Jose de Armijo Cemetery on the west side of Albuquerque. A beautiful dirt cemetery, much cheaper than the large grass cemeteries in Albuquerque. I say, why waste water in a desert on decaying, dead bodies? Use the water for the living, for gardens to grow food, for flowers. Where do you want your body or ashes buried? Well, I just said. How do you want to be remembered? As a man in love with truth, who hated lies, a faithful friend, a longtime activist for justice for all people and against all wars, someone who has paid no federal income tax for war for 46 years so far. Do you want to donate body organs or your whole body to science? What songs, readings, message, person speaking at your memorial service? Religious or not religious? And for me, of course, as I've said, not religious at all. Period. Do you want money contributions to go to a special cause or organization? Many important questions. Let your loved ones know for sure exactly what you want when you die. If you're 18 or 80, because we never know when it will happen. If you change your mind in what you have written in 5 wishes, well, throw away the old copy and fill out a new form. We all have the right to change our mind. Thousands of people die every year in the United States from medications given as prescribed in hospitals. Thousands die every year in this country from receiving the wrong medication by mistake. We all make many mistakes in life. Doctors make mistakes. Nurses make mistakes. Thousands die every year in the United States from other kinds of hospital mistakes. Thousands die every year in this country from infections these people got in the hospital as patients, and from surgeries that were not needed. Medical treatment is the third leading cause of death in the United States. Medical treatment. And they call it medical practice. It's not 100% sure, never has been, never will be. So you do your damnedest to eat and to live healthy every day, and to avoid hospitals, to avoid prescription drugs. And even if my medical insurance paid every penny of my hospital, my doctor bill, I aim not to go to any hospital, if possible, the rest of my life. But I can never say for sure. It was just over a year and a half ago when I ended up in the UNM hospital and rehab hospital after the hit and run I suffered. Smart scientists spend years researching to find new drugs to prevent and treat cancer, COVID, many other diseases. But sadly, most of these smart scientists know little or nothing about the marvelous healing powers of garlic, hot chili pepper, ginger, many other herbs. Most of these smart scientists sadly know little or nothing about the marvelous healing powers of sunshine, of piss drinking, and of many, many herbs that have been used around the world for hundreds and thousands of years. Follow the money. Garlic, hot chili pepper, ginger, many other healing herbs, sunshine, piss drinking will not make billions of dollars for the drug companies. And to prevent and treat cancer, eat nothing containing added sugar. Nothing. Because sugar makes cancer grow faster. And to prevent and treat cancer, nothing containing cow's milk. Now, cow's milk is great if the cow is healthy and you're a calf. In nature, no animal drinks the milk of another kind of animal. And in nature, no adult animal consumes milk, even of their own species. The high casein in cow's milk makes cancer grow faster at every stage. Stop eating all sugar, shit, other junk food, ice cream, dairy of all kinds, including cheese, to prevent and to treat cancer. We each can be rich in some ways and so poor in other ways. My dear mother had a car. She had a house to live in. She had food to eat. She had money, lots of stuff in the house. So in some ways, she was rich compared with many millions worldwide of hungry people who have no home. But my dear mother was desperately poor in her health, her sick body for many years not being able to walk well, not being able to do physical work. She was desperately poor in wanting and needing passionate sex and romance with someone. She didn't want it with my dad. My mother starved for many years, as millions do, to be in love and to make love. The health of many people moving to the United States as immigrants often gets worse. Why? Because they get addicted to the processed factory foods here, the sugar shit, the McDonald's, the crap advertised on television. My longtime friend, a woman from Africa, got diabetes after she moved to the United States. She ate the junk food crap. Later, she woke up. She has a garden. She stopped the crap. she began to eat much healthier food. And then her diabetes went away. Israel's number one military analyst, Schiff, said, "The Israeli army has always struck civilian populations purposely, consciously. The army has never distinguished civilian from military targets, but purposely attacked civilian targets." That's what the number one military analyst in Israel confessed. Israel's longest surviving chief of staff said, "I do not believe in peace because if they," speaking of the Palestinians, "had done to us what we did to them, we would never make peace." Human rights organizations, including in Israel, have documented Israeli soldiers have murdered unarmed Palestinian women, men, kids, bulldozed homes, sometimes with families inside those homes. Since 1948, Israel has bulldozed about 50,000 Palestinian houses. Not one Jewish house bulldozed by the Israeli government. And since 1988, Hamas has tried over 12 times to make peace with Israel. But Israel said no. Israel has never accepted Palestinians' right to live. Israel's founding father, David Ben-Gurion, said, "After we become a strong force as a result of the creation of a state, we shall expand into the whole of Palestine." Israel's chief negotiator at the 2000 Camp David Peace Summit said, "If I were a Palestinian, I would have rejected Camp David as well." And years ago, an old Palestinian man in Gaza held a sign saying, "You take my water, you burn my olive trees, you destroy my house, you take my job, you steal my land, you imprison my father, you kill my mother, bombard my country, starve us all, humiliate us all, but I am to blame. I shot a rocket back." How would I feel if I were a Palestinian? How would I feel toward the U.S. government that has sent billions of dollars of U.S. weapons to Israel for the mass murder of our Palestinian sisters and brothers? Many videos are online of young Israeli soldiers, mostly in their 20s, bragging, "I killed 22 children, and I'm going to kill more." Israel has trained its people to believe the Palestinians are not human. Well-known Israeli leaders have called Palestinians cockroaches, human animals, crocodiles, beasts walking on two legs. When will we see all people on earth as our sisters and brothers? And I strongly recommend the book Beyond Chutzpah on the misuse of anti-Semitism and the abuse of history. The author, Norman Finkelstein, a Jew. His parents were in the Nazi concentration camps. And I strongly recommend the book, Wake Up and Reclaim Your Humanity, Essays on the Tragedy of Israel-Palestine by Richard Foer, F-O-R-E-R, also a Jew. Richard was a staunch defender of Israel's actions many, many years ago, but he woke up, he changed when he studied deep into the history of Israel and Zionism and how they abused and persecuted and murdered the Palestinian people. Richard Foer, F-O-R-E-R, supports full human rights for Palestinians and all people on earth. He damns the U.S.-backed Israeli mass murder of Palestinians. And some of the strongest activists for the human rights of Palestinians are some, not most, not all, but some Jews in the United States and in Israel. And I strongly compliment them for their stand for Palestinian human rights. Our strong romantic desire for someone never guarantees the other person feels strong romantic desire for us. I repeat, our strong romantic desire for someone never guarantees the other person feels strong romantic desire for us. And that's one of life's many painful lessons. We have no proof heaven is real. I want to be with all my loved ones in a better world beyond death, but I refuse to bullshit myself with make-believe. Many years ago, I sincerely believed in heaven and in God. I apologize for spreading false advertising. If a person rich in money and a person poor in money fall in love, often problems because of the big difference in money between the person rich in money and the person poor in money. The person rich in money can wonder, would this other person want me if I did not have all this money, all this stuff? And the person poor in money can wonder, would I be so attracted to this other person if he or she were not rich in money? Am I a leech? Am I a gold digger? Is this person rich in money trying to buy my love? Is this person rich in money trying to make sure I will not leave him or her? I enjoy living simply and healthy below the U.S. poverty level for me as a single person. And if I'm in love with men who have much more money, much more stuff than I do, they need never wonder or worry if I am after their money and their stuff. Hell no. I was foolishly addicted as a teenager back on the farm before I ever had set foot in Albuquerque, years before. I was foolishly addicted to many violent television programs: Gunsmoke, Wagon Train, Wyatt Earp, The Lone Ranger, Have Gun Will Travel, Zorro. I foolishly wasted many precious hours watching damn guns and violence. And this is one of many things I would want to change if I had my life to live over, knowing what I know now. But I woke up. I stopped watching that violent crap. I changed. And now, now under normal conditions, I would not watch those violent programs if I were paid thousands of dollars. I say under normal conditions, because if I were starving to death with no food, no money, if I were freezing to death with no warm place to crawl into, but I'm talking about under normal conditions, I wouldn't watch that violent crap for thousands of dollars. And over the long run, most refugees and asylum seekers coming to the United States from other nations pay more in taxes here than they receive in government benefits. You'll never hear that from Trump and his gang. And many of the refugees and asylum seekers come to the United States with little or no money, but they want to find jobs, they want to work. And most immigrants would prefer to stay in the nations they were born in if conditions greatly improved there. And I very much thank Mark, Eddie, Travis for helping me many dozens of times with this program. And I thank you for watching and listening. My fresh piss to your health.
Tell all you love that you love them so, because even if you do, they might not know, and one day we'll all be gone. Taste the wind, don't let it blow on by. Sing songs of love, let the music get you high. And when it's said and done, you'll know the sun will shine on. And when it's said and done, you'll know the sun will shine on. And when it's said and done, you'll know